What's good, fam? Coach Ronnie coming at you with episode number 5 of In the Lab. Today we're going to review Dr. JP's sprint analysis video of the great Usain Bolt. The goal of this video is to help you improve as a sprinting athlete. So let's get it. Alright folks, let's dive into this video. Here we go. I wish I could move like that, yo. I really wish I could. So before we proceed, I want to cover specific topics in this video. Dr. JP does a great job of breaking the video down for us. The chapters we want to cover: path deviation, then want to slide over to foot landing, foot position, foot movement, amount of vertical oscillation, hip mobility, and I think that's it. Oh, we have all this. Forward body tilt, trunk, shoulder stability, and head. We want to fly through the last part though. Okay, path deviation.
As you can see, he actually maintains a relatively straight path when sprinting. This is key, especially during a sprint, as path deviation can lead to slightly increased distance to travel, resulting in slower times. Next, let's take a look at his
path deviation. Simple concept, right? But you'd be surprised how many of our young athletes have trouble with this. So here's a pointer. 2 words: square up. What do I mean? If this is my finish line or my target, your head is looking straight ahead. Your shoulders are square, your torso is square, your hips are square, your knees are square, and your feet are square. The reason I want you guys to do this because I see this all the time. Say this is a drive leg. As you're preparing to sprint, this is your back leg. I see that front foot turned in all the time. I see that back leg turned in all the time, causing valgus stress on the knee, which isn't good. So remember, square up. Square up. All right. Now let's move to the next topic. Yes, foot landing.
His heel actually barely even touches the ground throughout the entire race, and if it does, it's for a very short amount of time. Reason for landing around the forefoot is it allows for the least amount of time for the foot to roll over the ground compared to rear foot and midfoot landing. This minimal contact time on the ground is key to maintain a quick step rate. Minimal contact time coupled with the forefoot landing also means increased force production through the legs, meaning increased work on the muscles. Therefore, the muscles need to be able to handle this force, which is one of the reasons why strength training is vital for sprinters.
So, foot landing, you heard Dr. JP says landing the midfoot. I say the balls of your feet just because, younger athletes, inexperienced athletes can understand that a little easier. Now, the reason we want to land on the balls of our feet, because when we land on the balls of our feet, we project our body down the track. When we heel strike, that becomes a problem. We're actually starting and stopping or pulling our body down the track. So make sure we land on that midfoot like Dr. JP says. Let's keep it moving.
We will stay on this frame because the next thing we will look at is positioning of the foot relative to the body center of mass. As you can see, the foot just lands slightly in front of where the body center of mass should be. For Bolt, he may have been able to bring the foot slightly closer to the body center of mass when he broke the 100-meter world record during this phase. However, he most likely did not get it under the center of mass. The only time that is possible is when you are accelerating, which is in the dry phase. Anyway, this is important to look at because the closer the foot lands to the body center of mass, the quicker the person is able to go through the running cycle, leading to faster time.
Alright, let's talk about that. Landing close to your center of mass. I'm going to give you an easy example, I think it is. So you can see where Usain Bolt foot lands in this video. Imagine if he lands around the 0 and the 1 in 2012. You will see how he would potentially heel strike. You can also imagine how his center of mass would be behind his leg. So what does he have to do at that point? He has to literally pull his center of mass over his leg, right? Doing what I mentioned earlier. He is stopping and starting each stride, and he is pulling instead of projecting his body down the track, right? So keep that in mind. Strike near the center of mass. Another point I want to bring up is maximize your contact length, all right? Maximize contact length. This is done during the initial contact phase. Now, poor contact length can be due to this poor arm action or those short choppy steps you might see some athletes take, those short choppy steps. That's what we want to avoid. I'm going to give you the way to do that later in the video, so stick around. But remember, we want to avoid those short choppy steps, number 1. We want to avoid poor arm action, not moving our arms to the complete range of motion. And again, we're going to talk about that later in detail, so stick around. All right, let's move on to the next topic here.
Next, we will look at how the foot moves from when it first makes contact on the ground to when it pushes off. Besides appreciating how much movement he's able to do in such a short amount of time, what I'm looking at now is how far he's able to bring back those hips before the foot pushes off the ground. Reason why I look at this is sometimes sprinters overemphasize step rate, and they sacrifice backside movement of the hips in order to achieve a certain step rate. When this happens, power is lost during push-off, decreasing step length, and it may actually affect step rate as well, as the lost power could have translated to increased speed to bring the leg forward. For Bolt, you can see he brings his hips into extension prior to push-off, therefore he optimizes power generation from each stride.
Alright, he talks about having efficient contact time, and like I said, that inefficient contact time can be due to the poor arm action and the short choppy steps. Alright, so keep that in mind. And this is a great picture of what we call in the industry the scissor effect. He has maximized his triple extension, that is his back leg is extended at the ankle, knee, and the hip. And on the front side, you see what we call triple flexion of the quad, the knee, and the ankle. So that's the scissor effect, right? Maximum flexion here, maximum extension there. All right, that's what we need. Let's continue.
Now, we will look at vertical oscillation, which means the amount of up and down movement that occurs as he runs. As you can see, contrary to the lateral movement we talked about earlier, he actually does not present with much vertical movement at all as he runs. This is good, as minimal vertical oscillation usually leads to decreased stress on the joints and improved efficiency during running. However, the cause of this may be more predicated to the quick step rate he's able to maintain throughout the race. As usually, the quicker the step rate, the decreased vertical oscillation that is seen.
Alright, so vertical oscillation. See, this is where we get into wasted energy. Wasted movement is wasted energy. The best way to avoid that is efficient gait. What's efficient gait? It's maximum stride length along with maximum stride frequency. When we combine these two at an efficient level, you're not going to have a lot of wasted movement from the torso up. But right now we're talking about that oscillation, that vertical oscillation. You want to minimize that wasted energy. Just maximize your stride length, maximize your stride frequency. All right, and I think that's it for here. Let's continue on.
Now let's take a look at hip mobility. Here's where he presents with peak hip flexion and then peak hip extension.
Scissors.
As you can see,
right?
he really
Scissors.
optimizes usage of his legs during running. This allows for that smooth cyclic motion of the legs as we saw earlier. One reason for being able to extend those hips like that also has to do with his ability to maintain a slight forward tilt. I don't mean forward bending the trunk, but rather the whole body. As you can see, he presents with a pretty decent forward body tilt of 22 degrees. This aids in slightly improved momentum forward, as well as positioning for improved activation of the hip extensors, leading to increased force generated. Next, let's move on to the trunk. I already mentioned that he keeps it upright as he runs, but let's take a look at the front view, this time from when he broke the 100-meter world record. As I mentioned earlier, he does present with lateral side-to-side movement.
To me, that's kind of fascinating. The fastest man on the planet has that lateral side-to-side movement. I think they say, I think Dr. JP mentions in the video, it has something to do with his scoliosis, or one leg might be slightly longer than the other. But look at his shoulder movement, how it deviates to the left and right, and look at all the other runners going straight ahead, right? Sorry, but I had to mention that's kind of fascinating to me.
We will take a closer look at it as he runs down the track. If you look closely, he actually presents with more push-off from the left leg, causing a more lateral trunk shift to the right. This is most likely due to the left leg actually being a half inch longer than the right leg due to the scoliosis.
There you go.
From a biomechanical standpoint, this technically leads to decreased efficiency, but I am so happy this didn't discourage Bolt from running. Even with this,
agreed.
Usain Bolt proves that you can still become the fastest man in the world.
No question. That's a story in itself, isn't it?
Let's take a look at shoulder mobility.
Hold up, I'm gonna stop on this. I gotta stop on this before the doctor dives in. Shoulder mobility is so important. I mentioned it a couple times already, right? So pay particular attention to shoulder mobility, and I'm gonna revisit it after Dr. JP. Here we go.
The range of how far his shoulders moves when he runs, you can see he has great shoulder mobility. This is important, especially in sprinting, as this type of arm movement is needed to help counter the high amounts of rotational forces produced by the legs. Now taking a look at the front view, you can see that he also keeps his arms relatively close to his body, and his arms barely cross
the
midline.
midline. Yes.
Finally, moving up to the head.
Alright, so I'm going to dive into the shoulders again. Now, you want to go into shoulders in detail, I have a video right up here. We dive deeply into arm action in that video, so check that out. But he broke it down for you, keep your arms close to your body right here. I like to tell my guys, go cheek to back pocket, cheek, the back pocket. Like he said, you have the midline right here. You don't want to cross the midline as I'm doing right now. That's about it for your arm action. Oh, it is not. Move from the shoulder. My younger athletes and experienced athletes, you guys tend to do move from the elbow joint. Again, I covered that in detail in that video above. Move from that shoulder through the full range of motion. That will enable you to get efficient stride length. All right. So the head. Let's talk about that.
You can see from this view that there is very little forward and backward movement going on. He keeps it relatively stabilized in a neutral position. This allows for improved core stability to help maximize force produced from the legs with minimal energy leakage. However, as everyone knows, he never maintains this position as he starts looking at his times and celebrating toward the end of the race. Honestly, I would do the same thing if I ran those times.
You're the greatest of all.
And
doing
that's
it too.
it for the quick analysis of Usain Bolt running the...
All right, that's it for Dr. JP. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, do me a favor. Would you please like the video? Would you please share the video? And please subscribe to this channel. This is Coach Ronnie, and thank you for your time. Catch you in the next video. Peace.